Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's IC Real-Time webinar. In this webinar, we'll be discussing Ella, our new video surveillance search engine. In this webinar, we'll be discussing how Ella works, why we created Ella, how to use Ella, how you can make recurring revenue with Ella, and lastly, where and how you can get Ella. If you do have any questions on anything that we discussed today, I will make time at the end of the webinar to field any questions that you might have. Currently, I have everyone muted at this moment, and at the end of the webinar, I will unmute everyone and allow anybody who has a microphone to ask or field any questions that you might have. After that, I will then answer and address any questions that anybody asks through our messaging application here on join.me. My name is Michael Caballero. I'm the product specialist here at IC Realtime, and let's get started. So I wanted to start out this webinar by giving you a little bit of background about what Ella is. So what is Ella? Ella is a real-time search engine that augments surveillance systems with natural language search capabilities across recorded video footage. Ella uses algorithmic deep learning tools to give any surveillance or security camera the ability to recognize objects, colors, people, vehicles, animals, and more. Ella makes every nanosecond of video searchable instantly, letting users type in keywords like white trucks to find every relevant video clip instead of searching through hours of footage. Ella quite simply creates a Google for video. Ella determines that something being recorded is interesting by detecting a significant amount of activity in a scene. Currently, Ella sends the interesting scene back to the cloud-based neural networks, which simultaneously vote on what they think the user would consider interesting. IC Realtime partnered with Cameo, a startup founded by former Googlers who worked on the early Google Street View technology in beta testing. Google found that people constantly searched their own homes because they thought it was a live feed. Cameo founders thought, why shouldn't there be a way to search video feeds? And the initial technology concept was born. IC Realtime used its significant expertise in the surveillance and security industries to help hone the technology and create a platform that was market ready and powerful enough to turn any security camera into an AI-based network. So why does this matter? Well, prior to Ella, surveillance footage could be viewed or searched in two ways. First, someone can sit in front of monitors, watching footage live and monitor for any suspicious or relevant activity. The second way is to have someone review video footage, combing through hours and hours to find the relevant clips and review for usage. Either way can be tedious and time-consuming and inefficient. Ella creates an entirely new way to find video footage that matters. While it is still capturing streaming camera content, the camera is constantly sending Ella footage and asking, does this matter? What about this? Or this, does this matter? Ella uses machine learning and metadata to analyze any piece of footage and can recognize when objects, people, cars, and activities are relevant. The relevant activity is captured, stored, and tagged in HD and ready to be searched at a moment's notice. The impact Ella has on building owners' ability to keep their property safe, or governments to protect citizens, or law enforcement to solve crimes cannot be understated. This powerful technology has been adapted by surveillance experts at IC Realtime to create an effective and unintrusive way to keep people and property safer. The average surveillance camera captures 2 minutes of interesting or relevant video for users in a 24-hour period. The existing ways to find meaningful clips or see something problematic is to either sit someone in front of the camera feed 24/7 or search through hours and hours of footage. Ella connects surveillance cameras and NVRs to state-of-the-art machine learning algorithms to create a new level of intelligence and security. So what I'd like to do is show you guys a few of the different terms and terminology and technologies that we utilize and leverage to bring Ella to the forefront and to really refine Ella's search capabilities. So I'm going to take you step by step and show you firsthand how those functions work. So first I'm going to start out with the Ella box. That's the hardware implementation that we utilize on site. And this box does two things. It compresses the data that is being sent up to the cloud, up to 50% more than H.265. And it also utilizes our machine learning algorithm to identify any scene changes. So for example, I'm going to pull up a video clip here, and our machine learning algorithm has identified that yes, there are vehicles in the background, there are trees, there are bushes, there's shrubs, there's leaves, so on and so forth. And none of these things are important. I would not have been presented any of these if there was trees swaying in the wind or bushes swaying, so on and so forth. I'm only made available of scene changes through intelligent observation through our machine learning algorithm. So a person walking down my sidewalk, that indicates a scene change that would be important to me. Somebody entering my frame of view, that's what the machine learning algorithm identifies as a scene change. A vehicle pulling into the parking lot, that identifies as a scene change. And in doing so, it presents that to me here at the main page of Ella. So everything you see on this page, without me having to do any searches, that is machine learning in effect. It has presented to me every instance of an occurrence on my cameras. Now, once these images do come up to our cloud level, like you see here, that's when Ella starts going to work applying its natural language tags, its metadata that we inject into the image. If some of you are not aware, when a camera or a video camera is recording video or taking pictures, it's embedding its own metadata into that image. Generally, that metadata is going to be your time of day, your geolocation of the device that you took that camera, so your location on GPS, the name and info of the camera or cell phone that has taken that picture. That is metadata, traditional metadata that is added onto an image. It's been like this for about 10 years now. What Ella does is then it takes that metadata a step further and it starts applying searchable information into that image. So for example, I'm going to pull up this image here. And the metadata that has been added to that image is the make and model of every vehicle, the color of every vehicle, the time of day, whether that is a male or female sitting on the sidewalk, whether that is a male or female that has just walked on scene, the color of the clothes that the person is wearing. All of these things have now been introduced. The metadata, all this information has now been introduced to that image. And in introducing the metadata to that image, that then allows searchability. So for example, I'm going to specify that specific sidewalk. And I'm going to specify that I want to search people. And I'm going to specify that I want people wearing red. Now, once I conduct my search, it's going to start showing me all that information. It's going to show me every person on or near my sidewalk wearing the color red. And then you can scrub through any of the video to see if this is the video that you were looking for and pertains to you. Now, another piece of technology that we're utilizing is called OCR. OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition. It allows any of the cameras that you add to Ella to then read text or badges or things that are written on the side of vehicles or buildings or even clothing. So, for example, OCR or optical character recognition allows me to search for things like FedEx. Now, as you can see here, FedEx is clearly written on the side of every FedEx truck. And when I search for FedEx, OCR is what allows me to return the search results. You can also utilize this for things like UPS. Now, optical character recognition is great when used like this because you can see on your cameras when delivery trucks have appeared on your video. This can also read the side of trucks for advertisements and what have you. So if you want to make sure that your plumber came on site and they have a van with their logo and their company name, you can simply search that company name and find out if that van has ever entered your field of view, your camera's field of view. Now, the next thing that, now also keep in mind that Ella can read badges off of vehicles. So we'll enter in Acura. And once I've entered in Acura, it's going to pull up every instance of an Acura on my camera. So as you can see here, I have an Acura that has pulled up on our controller's house out in Arizona. And as you'll see when this vehicle backs up, it's got no named badging. It doesn't say Acura on the side. It doesn't give you a model number of TLX or what have you. All it reads is the front badge. So it can identify vehicle badging and apply that to your search terms using OCR as well. So OCR really allows us to leverage the capabilities of Ella. Now, the next capability of Ella, the next piece of technology it uses is deep learning. Now, deep learning allows the search engine to get smarter. As you search more and you vote on video that's important to you, you will start to see more of that video. And the way that we utilize and leverage deep learning is using our thumbs up and thumbs down icons and identifying what video is important to us. So if I wanted to see more of that blue Acura, I would simply mark this as important. And that would teach Ella that we want to see more of that vehicle. That searching for Acura and returning that Acura is important to me. And it's enhancing the accuracy of Ella. I can also select unimportant or not important, and it will show me fewer events in my search for Acura of that vehicle. And it'll eventually never show me that vehicle if I say that that's not important to me when I search for Acura. And keep in mind, you do have the ability to select important or not important at your leisure. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, the creation of Ella was due to feedback that we had sent out to a lot of our dealers asking, what is the thing that is most lacking, the thing that is most cumbersome and or that needs to be addressed in the security industry? And far and away, the response we got was playback. Playback in terms of pulling up footage. As I explained, it's just much too cumbersome in its current state to pull up playback video, as you have to select a time and a date and scrub through footage to find the incident that you're looking for, and then export that video. For example, if I had an issue with a neighbor's dog going on my lawn, I would have to get in front of my machine or use some kind of software. I would then have to search through hours of footage to find out when that instance occurred. Or I could just type in dog. And as you can see here, every instance of a dog across my cameras is simply presented to me. L is smart enough through the machine learning and its deep learning algorithm to identify a dog, a cat, a brown dog, a black dog, a white dog. It understands colors as well as the fact that it's not a humanoid, but a canine. Now, as you can see here, we've pretty much addressed that issue with playback and the ease of playback. Everyone knows how to search. Everyone knows how to use a search engine. And everyone knows how to use natural language to search for instances. And that's another technology that we have leveraged here with Ella to make it much more powerful, is the ability to search using natural language. I can search police, I can search police car, and Ella's going to give me search returns despite the subtleties in natural human language. It's very much how like you search for white F-150 2017 on the internet or 2017 white F-150, and you're going to get the same results. That's natural language utilization at play here. So as you can see, I can type in white truck. And I'm going to get every instance of white trucks on my cameras. Or I can search truck white, and I'm going to get the same search results. So it leverages natural language so to make it very easy to search for these instances. And as you can see the accuracy here of my searches for white trucks. Every instance of a white truck on my cameras returns to me a white truck. Ella is also smart enough to know, well, did you mean a white box truck? Did you mean a white pickup truck? Let me show you all of them and then allow you to vote on which white truck you're looking for and what's important. Now that takes me into color identification. Okay, as you already saw, I was able to search people in a specific color, people wearing red. I could do the same for the color blue. And as you can see, Ella's going to return to me every instance of people wearing blue on my cameras. Now it'll also give me more than I need. So what does that mean? Uh, Ella will present to me everything blue on a sidewalk. At the outset, it will start to present to me, well, here's a blue vehicle. Did you mean that? You mentioned sidewalk and blue. And with that, you can then start to vote things as unimportant if you want to refine those. So for example, I see here that in my searches, it's presenting to me a blue vehicle on my sidewalk. So here, I'll simply vote that as not important. And now when I begin to search for people wearing blue, I'm not going to see that blue vehicle again, thus refining my search. Now the second thing we wanted to address and people complained about with playback was the export of footage. Once you've found the instance that you're looking for, you want to export that footage. Now, in traditional playback methods, that would entail you either finding a CD or a thumb drive and going through the export process on the recorder, specifying your time frame, specifying your file type, and then oftentimes with other third-party manufacturers, they may not have multiple file types for you to choose from. So what do you do then? You have to export in the proprietary file type. You then have to download a proprietary player to play back that footage. And then you have to give that to the police. Or if you just email them the file and they may have to download that file, that player themselves, With most police municipalities and departments, they're heavily firewalled as they're a police department and cannot download a specific player for that footage in question. So, how do you present to them that footage in an easy manner? Well, we thought of that with Ella. So, there's a share button at the top, as you saw, at the top of all of the video clips that are presented to you. When you click that share button, you have a few options here. First, it's going to be your three major social media types: Facebook, Google, Twitter. Now, these are important because social media has become such a powerful tool in sharing and disseminating information. And in that sharing and information, you get more eyes on the video that is important to you. It may be this is the dog that's been going on my yard. If anybody sees the owner, please let me know. I don't know who this person is, but I have video proof of them letting their dog, use my lawn, so on and so forth. You can share that with social media from the clip that you've taken from Ella. If you need to share with the police department, you have the capability of creating an email link of this video. Now, the great thing about Ella is browser based, and so is the video. The video still retains watermarks from the recorder it came from, as well as the Ella program and the account tied to it. You simply click the link as you see on screen, and you email that link to your respective police detective or what have you. And in doing so, he'll simply open up that link in a browser. No need to download any player, no need to deal with any proprietary file types. It simply plays on any browser that they have available to them: Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Safari, so on and so forth. Now, some of you may be asking, how does this pertain to me? What do I do with Ella? So let's start with how does Ella help and apply to you guys as security dealers? Well, due to the open platform's brand agnostic approach, Ella offers security dealers in residential and commercial applications the unique ability to augment any existing surveillance equipment or install a cutting edge solution for their customers that will find powerful and easy to use. Installation wise, all that's required by the dealer is to install one of our ICR boxes. Now, our ICR boxes come in three different flavors. There's a three camera box, which is generally for your small residential installs that may have a couple of cameras out front, as well as a doorbell or a nanny cam. We have our Pro version, which is our 8 camera version. So for your typical 8 channel recorder installs or more. They may not use every single camera on a 16 channel machine, and you may not add every single camera on that machine, only the cameras that are important. And lastly, we have our Pro version, which is basically a customizable, expandable blade server that we make available to you to suit the number of cameras that you need. Now, I don't want to get too much into pricing here because I really would like you guys to discuss pricing as it is extremely dynamic in the pricing with your sales guys. They have available to them a calculator that allows you guys to streamline Ella to suit your end users' needs. If they don't want OCR, they don't have to have OCR. If they don't want advanced optical object search capabilities, they don't have to have that as well. They can simply use this as a cloud storage and not use any of the expanded Ella capabilities. So pricing is not dictated by just the cloud platform. There's services within that we allow to customize, which then determines the final price of the monthly Ella platform. So there is a one-time fee for the Ella box, and then we work with you to create a structured pricing plan for your end user, which then allows you to add on your markup and then present that to your end user. Now, your end user has no idea how much your markup is. They only see the finalized price. Once that has been created, we have a back-end software that functions very much like PayPal. The That's what the end user gets billed through, and then you receive your markup, and we receive our cut as well, our fee. So as I was saying, the ICR box, which is it's installed between the surveillance system, and that's not a great way to put it. The ICR box is added to the network, so you'll simply receive that box and you'll plug it into the switch or connect it to the router or the router itself. The Ella box will then go through and find all the cameras on the network and allow you to add only the cameras that you want to add. The Ella system offers security installers a direct path to easily attainable recurring revenue. So that was important to us. We wanted to provide you a solution for recurring revenue, and we've done that with the Ella platform. In installations where a surveillance system does not currently exist, dealers can add the Ella solution without swapping out the NVRs or surveillance cameras they carry on their trucks, and easily add the software solution into the installation. So do keep in mind that you can return to previous installs that you no longer visit, that you don't have recurring revenue with, and you could present to them a solution for taking their old analog recorders, maybe their HD AVS recorders that you've installed a couple of years ago, or any IP cameras that you may have installed, and present to them the ability to get those cameras up to an AI level of intelligence. And that is tremendous. Presenting to you the ability to go back and build recurring revenue streams where there were none before. Ella can also be a powerful tool used by security dealers, like I said, to revisit past installations. Now, what I'll do here is I'll show you briefly, once you have set up your Ella box, you've got your QR code with your MAC address for Ella. You'll simply come here to Boxes, where you'll register a box. Now, registering that box ties the box to the account that you've created. Once you have your box registered, the box will then scan your entire network looking for every camera. And then all you have to do is simply enable those cameras and add them to the Ella platform. It's very simple and easy to set up with Ella. Now, what I'll do at this time is I will go ahead and unmute the webinar. I do ask that anybody who does have a microphone or is calling in, if you're not asking a question, please mute your microphone or mute your phone, so that way others have the opportunity to clearly and concisely ask questions that they may have. So I'll go ahead and unmute everyone at this time.
Everyone else is now unmuted.
So everybody is unmuted at this time. Does anybody have any questions on any of the topics we covered today? The functionality of Ella, how to add Ella, where to get it? Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, hi, this is Brian. Basically, so you talked about how I can use Ella as a cloud repository.
Yes.
Or I can take advantage of the extended features. You talked about OCR, and then you kind of talked about advanced processing. Can you go into that a little bit more?
I sure can. So upon the ability to simply search based on color, human being, what have you, the advanced search capabilities allows you to search using things like Jeep Wrangler, Ford F-150, Mazda RX-7. It applies an enhanced. It applies, and I appreciate the turning off of the phone there. It applies advanced search terms that you can utilize to your video, other than just your simple search commands.
So what if I wanted to search for dog, let's say?
So
Would I
dog is a
decide
dog
not
is
to
a
have?
yeah, that's a basic command. Uh, yeah, that wouldn't be
Uh-huh.
part of an advanced term.
And if I put red car, that would not be advanced either.
That would not be advanced either. No.
And if I said woman with blonde hair,
No, that would not be advanced as well.
but if I put UPS truck, that would be advanced.
That yeah, that would be it. Not only would it be advanced, it would also be considered OCR, since it is reading UPS off the side of the vehicle.
And you said that car emblems or brands is OCR too.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And what about recognizing police cars? Is that done through OCR?
That is done. Yes, that is done through OCR.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
My pleasure. Anyone else have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
This is Vern with Camera Vision.
Hey, Vern.
You was talking about how it could, if I understand you correctly, that it can connect not only to IPC cameras, but it can connect to an HD analog camera.
Yes. So let me get a little more in depth in that, and some of that I did save for you guys to ask. And yes, so our Ella is hardware agnostic, and what I mean by that is all she relies on is the stream. As long as the camera or recorder is providing that stream to Ella, it doesn't matter if it came from an analog camera. It doesn't matter if it came from an HD AVS camera. It does not matter if it comes from an IP camera. Not only that, but it does not matter if it comes from a digital watchdog camera. It does not matter if it comes from a Visualon camera. So really, it does not matter the recorder, the manufacturer of the camera. This will work with pretty much any of those manufacturers, with a limitation to Ring Cam. Ring Cam does have a proprietary stream that Ella cannot read.
So how does it pick up the analog signal off an analog DVR? Um, or do you have to split that coax and send a signal to it?
You do not. So the Ella is smart enough to recognize a DVR and the channels of that DVR, and when you have Ella's boxes box expanded out with all the devices on the network. If there's a DVR on that network, it will show you that DVR's IP address with channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, so on and so forth. And you can then specify, I want the stream from this IP address, channel 4. And that's the stream that it will present to you in an RTSP stream.
Even if it's not an IC real time
Even
device.
if it's not an IC real-time device, that's right.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Anyone else with any questions? We got 45 people in here. There should be some good questions being presented. No, I'll give it a second shout. Any questions that anybody else may
I have
have?
a question.
Yes.
Brian from ProS Sales.
Hey, Brian.
Are the reps going to receive pricing on this so we can distribute it to the field?
Yes, well, and I didn't want to touch too much on pricing because, as I mentioned, currently we have a calculator. So at first, with your corresponding sales guys, go ahead and have them get you familiar with that calculator and how to utilize that calculator. It will allow you to then customize the Ella platform to your end user's needs. And the way it does that is you're going to specify how much time do you need, how much OCR do you really require, how much advanced search do you require it at all, and it asks a few more questions, which are your more busy cameras, things like that, or how much activity is within those cameras.
Right, but if I'm talking to a dealer and they say that's great, how much is it? What am I going to tell them? That's my point. I've got 80 guys to talk to about this.
Right. Okay. So let me give you just a few averages. So your average S-
I don't, okay, all right, yeah, give me something to go by, I guess.
right.
But what I'd like is actual cost in front of me.
And we will and the reason we're not presenting that at the outset is as this is as we're starting to phase this out, phase this into people's hands and into people's homes, we're starting to get an idea of realistic costs based on usage. We're starting to get feedback on this. We just haven't got that locked down yet as to how much specifically, but I can give you an idea of a single camera uh, utilizing an average of 2 hours of OCR and 2 hours of advanced search capability at 2 weeks costs about $8.75 to the dealer. That's not including how much you would then add on your markup and then present that to the customer. But on average, you're looking at about $8 for 2 weeks.
Okay, that'll keep me busy for a while until we get more specific.
Yeah, and we will get those specifics out to you. That, like I said, we're just finalizing, locking all those down. But do reach out to your sales guys so they can accommodate you with that calculator. Anyone who, if you don't have a sales guy and you need that calculator, if you leave your email address in the message entry, I will collect those email addresses and send those out to you on my own.
All right. And when is this shipping?
It is shipping now. We are live with Ella, with the Ella platform. We have boxes
Okay.
in stock, services live. And now do keep in mind, something I wanted to share with all of you is that when it comes to adding Ella and utilizing Ella, the more people we get out there utilizing Ella, the more intelligent it's going to become for everyone, not just the individual user directly. But it will start to deep learn and gather information based on the searches and returns that people are making, and it will then strengthen the entire platform throughout all users, not just singular users themselves. Uh,
So
so
these boxes talk to each other?
the boxes don't talk to each other. They're all utilizing the same algorithm, and that algorithm takes information from all these searches. It is by no means sharing any of this information with anybody else. You cannot see anybody else's cameras or what have you, but it is strengthening the search results based on the analytics that it is displaying from what people are searching and the results they're finding and what they're deeming important and unimportant. So this will, just like Google did 15 years ago when they first released the Google algorithm, and that you had to kind of search a wide variation of terms. As you can see, today is very, very simple. Anybody else have
Thank you.
any other
Yeah,
questions?
Yeah, this
I
is
have a
Brian
question.
Levy again. I have another
Yeah,
question.
We got
go
two.
ahead, sir.
We have two people at the same time. I'll go ahead and let Brian start, and then the gentleman that was speaking after him, I'll go ahead and field your question next. Brian, go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Yeah, so when I'm selling this to my customers
Mm-hmm.
and I want to explain to them, look, let's say we're talking about a large factory
Mm-hmm.
and they have 150 cameras, but
Right.
I'm only going to use Ella, let's say for the entry points
Right.
or for the parking lots.
Right.
So I buy the 8-channel, system or the 16-channel system, and I only use, let's say, 8 channels.
Sure.
How do I know what I need? Like, how do I know if I need an OCR or I just need basic? How is that determined? So yeah, sure, I would like to know makes and models, but is it going to be fiscally sensible versus like if OCR and advanced processing is that much more expensive that they need to be taken out as separate items, how do I know what I want?
That's a good question, and realistically you're going to have to do a little bit of research here. You're going to have to, if you have a very low traffic in terms of low vehicle traffic area, then you may not need OCR there. You may require OCR at your shipping uh, area for your building whenever you receive your all of your packaging from ordering or sending out there. If it's a busy area, then that's where you would leverage OCR. And generally, we recommend people start out with 2 hours of OCR. Now, keep in mind the OCR, if they find that they're using more than that and they run out of what they've determined that to need, Ella simply sends up a message at the end and asking the end user, "Do you need more OCR than this?" So it's there's going to be an experimental phase for a few of these installs to determine how much they need. Now, as this is billed month to month and not a yearly contract, they can make any adjustments to that plan at the interval of the next month.
Okay, so that's something that I can change easily
Yes, absolutely.
after I already set it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, you have that ability to make those modifications, and they will go into effect in the next billing cycle.
Yeah, it almost seems to me like I would want everything, or maybe compare two different channels, one with less, one with more, and then kind of see where it falls, because I'd hate to miss something because I don't have OCR.
Right. But then again, and
Okay,
we have to take, and just like we have to take your argument into consideration, we have to take the argument that I may not want everything, and we really at the outset, we want this to be something that we can tailor to your end user's needs. It may take a couple of times of, like I said, experimentation, but at a certain point you'll say, okay, this is exactly what I need, and this is what I want to be billed for. So that's at like I said, at the inception, as this is a completely new platform, we wanted to err on the side of caution and not give people more than they needed. Anyone? There was a second gentleman that had a question.
Yeah, let me add on to that with another question of 2 hours of how do you add that footage up? It adds the clips up of, okay, there's 2 hours of UPS truck coming through here, 2 hours of FedEx truck coming through here, or is it 2 hours of searching for OCR stuff?
No, no, no. You were on the right track. It's 2 hours of and FedEx coming here. So how long does it take Ella to read FedEx? A couple of seconds, right? So
Yeah.
then Monday UPS came to the office twice. We Ella read her for 2 seconds each time. Well, that's 4 seconds out of the hour or 2 hours that you've specified for OCR. So you can, as you can see, on top of that, vehicles coming in and out of a parking lot and what have you. If it's a parking lot, yes, you're going to utilize more RCR in a shorter period of time. But yes, that's how Ella utilizes that 2 hours.
Okay, and then one more thing. You
Sure.
mentioned about Ella being smart, how it can learn, and the deep learning, and how we all kind of add to that.
Right.
Where did the learning come from before this? You guys put stock images in. Google gave you a bunch of images they had that already were metadataed out, and that's what's in there now, or?
No, much of the database was built by us also, and we're also leveraging Google Analytics as well. So that really allows us to start out with a very powerful set of returns already available to us. Yeah, different makes and models of vehicles. We're adding in data to then create metadata on these videos on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Does anybody have any final questions for us?
Yes, I do. How
Yes,
effective is Ella at nighttime?
it's very effective. So let me, actually, I had one here. So I'm going to do dog again. And I had a nighttime video with a dog on screen. So as you can see here, it identifies a dog middle of the night, or actually early morning. Uh, so yes, absolutely effective at nighttime.
So if the illumination was a moonless night and you didn't have the lighting that you have there, it would all depend on the quality and type of a camera then.
Absolutely, yeah. This it's quality of camera is really going to make a big difference as it allows you to uh, identify things. And so if there's no light there, there's no ambient light, and there's no IR, and if the camera can't see the footage, the L is not going to be able to identify it.
Okay.
But as long as it has light, it works quite well. Here's Ella identifying rain at nighttime. So as you can see there, I just searched for rain, and Ella has the ability to identify weather as well and weather effects, even in the evening. So as you
Hmm.
can see, yeah, it functionally it's fantastic at nighttime. Anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah. I've got another question. This is
Sure.
Brian Levy. What can I get Ella to actually do something? So if it's raining, send me a notification. If somebody crosses let's say an intrusion line, does it have this capability?
It does. So here under settings, we have notifications that reside here, and it will send notifications to the email that's been created with the account. And as you can see, you can receive motion alerts. Where keep in mind with the Ella platform, when we say motion alerts, these aren't your typical change in pixelation motion alerts. These are actual identification of someone in your scene. Again, this is machine learning making these identifications. It's not your traditional IP camera viewing changes in pixelation. So you're getting real-time motion alerts of realistic instances on your cameras with no false positives.
Okay.
Is Ella able to send text natively, or does it have to use the email to text?
Currently, it does have to use the email. We are working on getting this capability into the app as well. And just so you guys are aware, there is an app for Ella as well. For both iOS and Android. If you go to their respective app stores and type in simply IC Real Time and scroll down the list, you will see Ella as part of our app suite.
Uh,
Okay, so I'm just gonna check. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have a question. I might have missed this, but can you use it offline? What if users don't want their data up in the cloud? Can we use
Unfortunately, the cloud is required because most people don't, and most machines don't have the raw horsepower for the machine learning aspect of Ella. That's all got to be done on a server farm because it's just far too taxing on hardware.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to do one last check for any questions. I do have a meeting at 5 o'clock. So, does anybody have any other questions on any of the topics that we did cover today? Okay, I'll go ahead and take that as a no. I've gone ahead and copied everyone's emails for the calculator here. Oh, and a final question for the gentleman who did message me, who did send a message for the question. Bandwidth consumption. Bandwidth consumption is actually very good. The Ella box that we provide for you guys does utilize a compression tool, but do keep in mind, Ella is only sending to the cloud the instances that are occurring on screen. If there is nothing going on your in front of your cameras, Ella will not send that information to the cloud. Uh, so bandwidth consumption is quite low here. So thank you very much for joining us for today's IC Real Time webinar. Uh, if you have any further questions or any queries in terms of Ella, my email address is Michael C, Michael, C as in Christopher. That's Michael C at icrealtime.com. Again, thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. What was our peak? 40, 48? Josh couldn't answer this one. How much bandwidth? Yeah, that's the one I. That's the one I.
What else? Another guy had asked.
Ah, okay. Well, then we answered.
I thought you were avoiding because you didn't know either.
No, no. Yeah. Uh huh.
You're a troublemaker. Yeah, you. Go look at that pecan roll now. It's almost halfway gone.
By
I told
you?
Oh my God. I gotta keep looking at it.
Warmed it, right? No, warm it. I'm gonna take more.
Yeah, please do. 'Cause I'm gonna take it to the back and it'll last about 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some and warm it.
We'll do. Let me get a quick break before I start this other one.